think so.
말 안 되게 막 말하는
Well, I have a lot of thoughts. 그런데 I tried to 정리해 as much as I could. Mic test, mic test. Okay. Hi, I'm Dobby, but you can call me Dabz. So today I'm going to be reviewing SuperNova by Marissa Meyer. SuperNova is the third and final book in the Renegades Trilogy. The other two books are Renegades and Archenemies. And I reviewed them separately, so if you want to know more about those books, either one of them, they will be linked in the description or here. You should check them out. The book review for this, but also I might do a little bit of like a series wrap up and like thoughts of it. One thing that I do want to mention is, okay, look at how, I'm just going to put that there for a second. Look at how like color coordinated and pretty it is. I don't know, I like it so much. Oh, also another thing that I wanted to say is that I can't say too much about the storyline of this book because it will have spoilers for Renegades or Archenemies. So like if you haven't read Renegades or Archenemies, if I say the beginning of this book, there are going to be a bit of spoilers. So I'll say as much as I can without giving spoilers. So, this book is still about Nova, aka Insomnia, aka Nightmare, which is her secret identity, and Adrian, aka Sketch, aka the Sentinel, which is his secret identity, and it is about Nova and Adrian as they struggle to keep their secrets from each other, but also from a lot of other people in their lives. And it's also about the Renegades and the Anarchists, and some new stuff happens, like in their separate groups as they're still fighting and kind of battling it out. And the final question is, who will prevail, good or bad? So I ended up loving this book. I feel like I loved both the action and like the adventure and stuff like that in this book, but I also loved the tension and the relationships and the drama that went on in this book, especially between Nova and Adrian, but also between all the other characters, like not relating to or relating to Nova and Adrian. I feel like this book, I kind of had mixed thoughts on it because the first couple hundred pages, or like the first half of the book, I felt like was a little bit less fast-paced. And I feel like some parts of it didn't need to be there, while the second half there was so much action, so much drama, it was so packed, and there was so much going on at once, and it was way more fast-paced. And I feel like the second half was a lot easier and faster to get through for me because I was reading it like a lot quicker, and I kept wanting to know what happened compared to the first half. Okay, so the next thing that I want to talk about is the fight scenes in this book. I feel like the fight scenes were a lot easier to follow than a lot of other action books, action/adventure books with like fighting in them. And I feel like, yeah, they're a lot easier to read, yet they were still pretty fast paced. And I feel like one of the reasons that they were easier to read is because they were very like comic-y. I don't know, they had like a comic book style to them. Like, I feel like the fight scenes were something that you could just pull out of a comic book, since this is like a superhero based book, so it's very like good for the book. It was a little cheesy, but like it fit into the book pretty well, and I really like the fight scenes in this book. So the next thing that I want to talk about is, oh no, I can't say this. Okay, so I originally really wanted to talk about something that happened at the end of this book, but I can't say a lot. Like, I wrote a lot of like notes and ideas for what to say about the ending, but then I realized that I couldn't say any of them because that would be spoilers. The next thing that I kind of want to talk about is all of the books compared to each other. So first thing that I want to say off the bat is that, like I said before, the last half of this book I enjoyed better than the first half. And the last half I obviously read last, so I kind of have more thoughts and ideas from the last half left, which makes me like this book better as a whole. Basically, I liked Renegades probably the best. SuperNova is a close second, and then I liked Archenemies. I liked Archenemies probably, okay, I don't want to say I liked it the least, but I liked it the least. So basically, I like books that have action and adventure in them, and Arch Enemies, like I said in my Arch Enemies book review, is more relationship and romance based, which is like, I like that. I really like those types of books, but I feel like for this storyline, I feel like I wish there was more action in that book, even though it was very important to the development of the story. And then I liked SuperNova is in the middle because I really liked how it had a lot of both relationships and action and adventure and fighting in it, and I really liked it, but there were also aspects of it that I didn't love, like how some parts in the beginning probably could have been cut off. And Renegades I liked the most just because it's the first book, and I feel like there were, I don't know, it was just my first impression of the series, but also Marissa Meyer, and I feel like I really liked having that as my first impression because it was so like dramatic and it was so fast paced, so I liked that the most. Okay, so this is also kind of a comparison between the three books, is that in Renegades there was distinctly a good side and a bad side. Like Renegades were good, anarchists were bad, and they were solid, and they're like, oh, you know, they're fighting. And in Arch Enemies, it was still kind of the same, solid, good, and bad, but in SuperNova is when it started to kind of blend together and blur together. You didn't really know who was good and who was bad because of like both the decisions that they were making and like the topics that the characters were bringing up, but also the characters kind of on both sides, and it was kind of like more blurred and more kind of what I think Marissa Meyer was going for with like the line between good and evil has been blurred. Throughout this book, because in regular books or TV shows or movies, you usually know who's going to win. Like, for example, in I watch a show called The Flash. It's really cool. You should watch it. I know that The Flash is going to win because he's like the good guy, or like he's the main character. And like if it's a book with the main character as like a good guy, you know that the good guy is going to win in the end most of the time, unless it's like a cliffhanger. But in this book, since one of the main characters was an anarchist and one of the main characters was a renegade, you really didn't know like how it was going to end. Like the whole book you were like, what's going to happen, who's going to win, because one of the main characters is also a bad guy. So that was a cool aspect of the book, to not know what was going to happen. So the Renegades series and the Lunar Chronicles series are both by Marissa Meyer, and I was going to say which one I liked better, but I realized that I don't know which one I like better, because they both have like, I don't know,
Marissa Meyer 책을 다 좋아하는.
Yeah, Marissa Meyer is a really good author. I was also reading another book by her called Heartless, and I was reading it in school, but I didn't really like get to read it that much because in school we have to read like these books for school, so I really want to check that book out because it was really cool. So Marissa Meyer, both of her books, they're like, I don't know, they have some aspect of nostalgia or like childhood kind of stuff in it, because superheroes is one. In Renegades, superheroes is kind of like superhero comics. It's kind of nostalgic for some people, while Lunar Chronicles is a retelling of a lot of different fairy tales and princess or Disney stories. So that could be nostalgic for other people. I just realized that. So that would be the end of my SuperNova book review. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thank you for watching. And if you like this video, then like this video and subscribe if you want more content like this. Happy reading! Okay, this is a spoiler. If you have not read SuperNova or any of those other books, if you haven't read any and you're planning to read them, then please do not watch this part unless you want a spoiler for some reason. Okay, so basically the ending of this book was, I don't know. I really liked the ending because it was, I'm trying to say spoilers in the less spoileriest way possible. Okay, so basically what happened is it was like a satisfying, like happy ending, and like kind of both sides won. Some person from both sides won. And I feel like it had so much potential to be like a dun 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 or like a cliffhanger moment, but Marissa Meyer didn't write it like that, and I'm not 100% sure if I liked that or if I liked that or didn't like that, because I feel like it would have been really cool to be left off on a cliffhanger or something like that, because it had a lot of potential to become that. But I also feel like it was really satisfying to me to know how it ended. Yeah. And the epilogue, it was interesting. It was very interesting. I liked it, but I feel like it would have been better if it was from a different like character's perspective. Like it was from this girl Magpie's perspective, and she kind of like not hated, but like hated people. She kind of had her thoughts about how it was like a happy ending, but at some point society is going to have to do another kind of battle about who's stronger, who's weaker. And she kind of was like, in the end, we'll see who's good and who's bad. So I felt like I didn't love the epilogue, but it was cool.